everybody, I'm Lorii Abela, your host here at Ready, Jetset, Go. Here at Ready, Jetset, Go, we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly in travel. So maybe once in your life you have traveled and things didn't fall into place. Maybe you lost your wallet, you lost your passport, and somehow you had a very negative emotion which was bothering you for a while. And so that's the reason why we are here, in order to support you. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner. And today is just one of those nice days here in Chicago, and I have invited a friend of mine to be joining us here to talk about her travel. So hello, Kim, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Lorii.
Yes. So before we actually talk about Kim, so let me, give you what she has shared about herself to me. So she is an artist by birth. It's Kimberly Darovec. She is an entrepreneur, therapist, author, party animal, and human expansion catalyst by design. Hello again!
Hi! Thanks for having me. So fun.
Sure. So, Kimberly, I know that you've been traveling a lot. I've seen your pictures. So, what actually inspired you to actually do traveling?
Oh, my grandparents on my Czech side. You mentioned that I'm Czech. When I was 16 years old, they were so generous and took me on this trip around Europe. We went all through the Czech Republic and visited different relatives everywhere, but we also had a specific agenda of going to Paris and watching Czech acrobats do something called the Sokol Slet. It's this beautiful, they were vying for places on the Olympic team. So we traveled around different parts of Paris to follow the team as well, and went to Germany, to Munich and Aschaffenburg. So quite the trip for me when I was 16. And they took me out of the country before they even took their own son, my dad. So
were you the
first grandchild? Yes.
Oh, the first grandchild. So
yeah.
You were the favorite. That's amazing.
I lucked out.
So where were they living then? Were they living here in the United States?
They were. Okay. They were in Cleveland, Ohio.
All right.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of other Czech over there in Ohio?
Yes. Yeah, there's a big population there. I haven't connected with people here in Chicago, but I know that west, somewhere in a suburb, there's a whole community of Czech people that I'm going to find because I'm going to move there in the next couple of years. So.
Cool. Okay. All right. Yeah, because I think I have met a couple, and so that's the only Czech that aside from you. You're the third one now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lucky number 3.
And so, because you mentioned this is from your father's side, how about your mother's side? Do they have any, European background as well?
Yeah, my mom is Italian, and then there's some English, Irish, French on her mom's side. Her dad was pure blood Italian. So I just tell everybody I'm Czech and Italian, but there's a little English, Irish, French in there too. Not that you could see that.
Whoa!
Yeah, and she loves to travel too. So
I didn't even know that you're a combination of different things. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so, do you have any favorite, food? I have no idea. What did your parents cook? The Italian or the Czech food?
Ooh. My mom was always my dad was an expert at making grilled cheese and tomato soup. But my mom is an excellent cook, and he cooks a lot more now too. But she would make traditional Italian dishes, but just everything, any kind of Americanized or comfort food or lots of seafood. Growing up in Florida, we always had some kind of seafood. We all love to eat, so that was never an issue.
Wow. Okay.
Which is part of the beauty of traveling too. All the food.
So you said you were the first grandchild. Did you have any other siblings?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I have 2 younger sisters.
Oh wow, all women. Mm-hmm. So how was your experience traveling with your grandparents? Because obviously they're older than you.
Yeah, that was. Like I said, I'm so grateful that they brought me, and what an awesome opportunity. I was so privileged to be able to go and do something like that at such a young age. But I was being a little brat to start with when I look back at it, because I was 16 and I wanted to be with my friends and I was gone all summer, and so, there were some moments when we were done with the day or whatever, where I'd be forlorn and thinking about, my girlfriends or some guy I thought was cute or whatever. And I'm in the middle of all this like beauty and like amazing wonders and splendors of things that I would never encounter in my life. So, after being there a couple days, it's like I just got fully immersed in the culture and in my new, family over there and all the new people I kept meeting, and just loved it. Yeah. With them, they were great. They wanted to explore and see and do everything. They kind of set up the itinerary. I was only 16, so I'm like, I don't know. They fully had fun things for me to do, for the whole family to do. Yeah, it was a great first taste of traveling.
Well, I really like, I asked you about how was your experience, because most of the guests that I've had here, they traveled already when they were an adult. And so like you were a teenager. And so like, I would imagine like, okay, the experience must have been different, because like you were a little younger, and at the same time, like you were together with somebody who's older than you. And so like, I like the idea though that you went for acrobat, because like it's something which is interesting probably for you as well, because like it's athletic.
Yeah, and it was like, when you see the gymnasts with the long billowing ribbons and rolling balls, and very like, poetic and dance oriented too, because it's like a dance troupe. It was really, I didn't know what to expect, because I had seen some of the activities in Cleveland, Ohio, like growing up and going to events with them there, but like this was a whole, giant production to try to have these athletes get into the Olympics. So I don't know how or why my grandparents, like, I guess maybe we met up with people there. I don't know, but I can't even recall now. But there was this one frustrating incident. I remember we're all in Munich. You ask about like the age difference and everything. And because I was only 16, everybody had been drinking beer all night long. And, and me too, because you're 16 and you can drink there. They don't care, I guess, how old you are. But I knew where we were going. I could get us back to the hotel and nobody would listen to me because I was only 16. So we're walking in circles and we're all exhausted, and it's the middle of the night in Munich, Germany. Yep, that was a little frustrating for me, because nobody would listen. And once they did, we got back to the hotel.
Okay, all right. So now speaking of experience, maybe you can share with us, something unforgettable, which actually like, something you didn't expect, that happened in your travel.
Yeah, so many things, like so many beautiful vistas, and crying in front of art, since I'm an artist, and just like seeing these masterpieces that I've only read about in, art history books, and all those beautiful experiences, and food and people and culture. But one thing when I was like thinking about what do I want to share on this show was on that very first trip too, I didn't know any of the language. My grandmother tried to have me be prepared and got me like, tapes and books, and, wanted me to know the language a little bit before I left. And I didn't do that either. Like I said, I was being a brat. So I'm in the middle of like we're with a bunch of relatives, and everybody again is eating and drinking, and they're all speaking Czech, and I don't understand a thing that they're saying. But we leave, and I'm with this like a cousin or somebody. Everybody's called cousin or uncle or whatever, even if they're not blood relatives. But we end up walking. He's this really, really tan guy, like kind of a farmer or works in the fields or something. We're joking around, walking to a bar. Like if you've seen that movie Banshees of Inisherin, like all the little stone cottages and stuff, we walked for, it must have been a mile or more, which seemed like a really long distance when I was 16. But we're on this dirt path, and I had 2 pitchers and he had 2 pitchers. We walked for over a mile to go get beer in the blazing sun, and him with his little short like jean cutoffs, like, and I was like, who is this guy? And it was just so fascinating to me. And on the way back, we had to walk a lot more slowly so we didn't spill the beer for the family. And I was like, I guess this is what they do here? I don't know. It just was something I wasn't expecting. And that's the cool thing about traveling, is the totally unexpected nature.
Oh, wow. And so what happened? I hope that you didn't spill anything.
Oh, I'm sure I did. Like stumbled over a rock or whatever. That part I can't remember. I was as graceful as a gazelle, Lorii. I didn't spill anything. Not a drop.
And so why did they pick you to be, picking the beer?
I have no idea. Maybe they just wanted to get rid of me, so they could have adult talk. Not like I could understand what they were saying anyway. But, yeah, it was fun. Just little things like that. That's what I've just like tiny little things, like expect the unexpected now. Anytime I go somewhere, it's just like relishing in like the fun little quirky moments like that.
Yeah, yeah. And so, have you been again to Czech Republic?
Yeah, I was just back. That was the last place I went abroad, actually. I went to Berlin to run the marathon in September of 2022. And while I was there, I tacked on a trip going back to the Czech Republic.
Really?
Yeah, and I thought about not doing that because I always want to explore somewhere new. But it was completely different as, you know, a 48-year-old woman at the time than it was when I was 16, going with my grandparents. So, yeah, and just my heart melted for my culture. And
yeah, so you were saying earlier that you also did the marathon. So how do you prepare yourself for that? Because like, you know, obviously you're practicing here and then the temperature is different here. And then like you go there and then like, you know, I have no idea you prepared for whatever is going to be like happening over there.
yeah, it was, you know, it was pretty similar. It was a little cooler there. And in the morning, it's just like here too, because I've run the marathon here. When it's cold in the morning, you're just kind of bundled up and then you like shed off all your clothes and you get hot real fast. So yeah, the sun came out and yeah, it had been cool all the days leading up to that. And then that day it was hot. It was pretty warm out and everybody was like, whew, what happened? Everybody running the marathon was like, why couldn't it have been yesterday? But it's the thrill of being there.
And so what's the relationship between you and the other runners? So do you actually just met over there, no clue who they are, and then like, you know, just be friend with them? Because like, you know, it's just one day, right, when you run?
It's just one day. I actually have been running any of the marathons I've done is for this plug for PAWS. The PAWS organization that they rescue and find homes for kittens and puppies predominantly, and like everybody loves their pets and love their animals, and I do fundraising for them so that I can go to their marathons. So there is a whole group and team of people, but honestly when I'm training I like to run and be by myself. But while I was over there, we met a whole team of people from PAWS and had dinner with them the night before the marathon in the middle of this beautiful beer garden in the middle of the park in Germany, in Berlin. And it was awesome to meet everybody and then keep track of like what all their times were and what their favorite things were. Like we were all in communication the whole time we were there, but I got to see them like one time the night before, which was so fun.
So do you have pets?
I don't anymore, but I did, yeah. Lately, I've been finding homes like for kittens and puppies. I just texted my mom and my sister and said, you know, somebody is looking for a home for this adorable puppy. You know, so I'm like funneling them through and finding them good homes.
Well, I think that's very normal because, like, you know, of course, they also need home. Like, you know, just like a human being, they have to have some place.
Yeah, food, shelter, love, yeah, all that.
All right, awesome. So, how did your first travel transform your concept of traveling?
I think it was like not knowing what to expect when I was that young and not getting how transformative it would be, you know, like I said, just being kind of snotty and looking forward to it, but not like that anticipation that we all like feel now when we're going on vacation or we're going somewhere new, because I was just too kind of young to really appreciate it. And then as soon as I got there and was thrown into situations like that I had no control over or whatever, you know, and just got to learn and be with what was coming at me. That's has transformed my view of life and of travel, because traveling, anytime you go, something always happens. Something always goes wrong anytime you go anywhere, especially abroad. And it's just great to be able to like roll with it, you know, so that's like altered my view of not only living life, but of going and seeing, you know, farthest recesses of the world sometimes.
So where are your grandparents? Are they still in Ohio?
No, they're gone now. They passed.
Okay, I was just wondering, let's say, if they're still alive and they ask you, like, you know, would you like to go and travel with us? Will you do that?
Oh, God, yeah. Instantaneously. Where are we going, you know? Do I get to pick? Are you picking? Are we throwing a dart at a map? Like, let's go. Let's do it. Okay. Yeah, I miss them terribly, and I'm so grateful that they're the ones that turned me on to travel and then to art and to music and all of it. You know, I kind of like my parents had something to do with it too, right? But they, my grandparents are really the ones who like instilled all of those humanities, the appreciation of humanities in me.
So they were also artists?
Yeah, my grandfather was an expert, like master baker and like cake decorator and like all that. Yeah. So
do you bake?
I do not bake. I mean, I can bake. I cook a little bit, but I'm not a baker. But he sure did. He made amazing Greek, not Greek, somewhere else we're going soon. Amazing Czech pastries, but those wedding cakes and stuff. Oh my God, the pictures I've seen of his decorating. It's just incredible. And my grandmother was a amateur photographer and loved to cook and loved to just dabble in everything. And she played saxophone. Did he play anything? I think he was just a baker. I could be wrong. My dad will be nope. Yeah, I don't think he really played an instrument.
Okay.
He was just an expert baker.
Yeah. So you're the first artist that I have invited over here. So now I'm just saying, like, it's interesting because your perspective is different as far as like seeing art. Because like, obviously, the whole of Europe looks like art.
Yeah.
And then like you said, like
it is. Even if you come here, you walk through downtown Chicago, or I just got back from New York, it's like all the art.
Yeah, I would imagine it's really like, your heart is like, okay, my God, I'm here. And like, you're appreciating all those beautiful art that, you can see over there.
Yeah. No idea. Just, yep. Hours and hours in an art museum. Several art museums if I can. Yeah.
So I guess like, if somebody's going to go with you who's not an art person and then they don't like art, you're not going to be working out together.
Yeah,
together.
I'll be respectful of that, I'm like, I'll make sure I see what I want to see, like the quintessential pieces that are in that collection that I must see. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go grab a glass of wine and, go see a show or go walk through the park or go do what they want to do.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And so is there anything, I'm sure you have traveled a lot, so like where else do you want to go? Like, what's in your bucket list?
Next place I would really love to go, and I just was looking at the map today because it's either Iceland or Ireland. I've never been to Ireland. I've been all over Europe and never been to Ireland, but I want to go there for Islay. Hopefully I'm saying it right. I've always said Islay, then I heard people say Isla. Island off of the coast of Ireland. Scotland. But while I'm there, I'll go to Ireland. But it's a Scottish island, and I want to go there for their amazing smoky, peaty Scotch. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So Scotland, Ireland, and then I'm like, well, Iceland is really just kind of right there when you look at the map. I was going to do them on separate trips, but it's really right there. It's just a little bit of the North Atlantic Sea, a little bit of the Norwegian Sea, dividing those island nations. So I think I'll plan it out and do both at the same time.
What do you want to see in Iceland?
All of it. Just like the boils, the fjords, the northern lights, the glass igloos, the food, the interesting food and the culture and just all of it. It seems so foreign to me, and just the way that they live and the temperature and what they endure probably on a daily basis, just climate and everything else. I'm just fascinated and would love to go.
Okay. So do you have any particular way to pack your items when you are traveling?
I'm kind of a leave it till the last minute, throw everything in a bag type of girl. I make a list. I definitely make a list of like, what all do I need? And, like vitamins and, essential things like that. I put that on the list. And then mostly it's like, okay, grab some clothes to wear to bed, some clothes to wear out, some clothes to, if I want to get a run in. But usually that's like assuming too much. So I don't bother bringing my running shoes unless I'm going to run a marathon anymore. Because I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go and enjoy. So, as far as advice and what I do, I just make a list and start slowly assembling things together, I guess. And then last minute, it's kind of like a mad scramble just to throw it all in a bag.
Do you have...
and travel as lightly as possible with as much as you have to bring.
Do you actually research first before you actually, pick whatever you want to go in different locations?
I will. I'll book half of the stuff that I do, like passage, like obviously my plane flight and hotels, But then I'll get there and I'll leave it open, like how I'm going to get from one country to the next, or what, I'm not booking like restaurants or whatever else. But I'll do research. I'll get like a Foder's book, or I'll go online, or I'll ask for recommendations from people that have been to the place I'm going. And just some of it is planned and some of it it's completely winging it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it's more fun, right?
Down for the adventure. I mean, they can both be fun. Like if there's those things you really, really want to see, right? Like when I was going to, it's New York a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I'm going to see Sweeney Todd, so on Broadway, and was my reason for going. And then
That was your reason to go?
Yeah, and I was with my family, and like we got to do what they wanted to do, and it was just like a beautiful experience because my mom, who's from the Bronx, finally got to see the Statue of Liberty and go on Liberty Island and Ellis Island, and she grew up there and spent her whole life there until she moved to Florida, where I was born. And she'd never been, it's like the people that live here in Chicago and they've never been to the top of the Sears Tower.
Yeah, but you're ahead of the game because, you have been to Croatia, Czech Republic.
Yes.
Because, some people, they say,
Gotta go to Croatia.
I'm from, they would say like, I'm Irish. And then like you ask them, have you been to Ireland? And they say, no. Have you been to Poland? Like those Polish, there are too many Polish here.
There's a lot of Polish people here.
I've never been there. And I was thinking like, okay, I'm joking with them. I tell them like, you'll never know. You might be a king or a queen over there in that country. You're here, you don't know.
Go visit the motherland, right? Yeah, I've been to Italy too, which is the other half of my heritage. So I've got that covered, but now there's more to explore.
Yeah, the world is so big. There's still some more to see.
I've never set foot on South America, on Africa, Australia. So those are next too.
All right, sure. Okay, so thank you so much again for being over here, Kim, and then I appreciate your time. And for those people who are watching, I'm just letting you know, if you are travel expert, we'd like to have you over here because obviously you have a lot of things to share. Like, it's not just like how to travel, packing, as well as like, finding out like where can you find cheap tickets or whatever. But of course, like, if you're also a travel enthusiast, we would like to have you over here because like obviously, anything that can be shared which will actually help other people in order to have much more fun in their travel, right? It's not just like, the fun as well, because like you also learn something wherein like you didn't had a good time, so of course like you learned something as well over there, maybe patience or something, who knows. And then so here in the show you can be your own Samantha Brown or Rick Steves and or Joseph Rosendo. And so I see you again soon. Thank you so much for your time again, and bye bye, take care.